Welcome to Mindful Musings, where you're invited to join in mindful reflections that encourage and deepen connections with self and others. Help build a culture of caring, create a life of purpose, and face challenging transitions in an atmosphere of unity.
We're going to do a virtues pick from the website at virtuesproject.com. And we've set the intention for the card that we need to help us mobilize our work today. Look at that. Self-discipline is having the self-control to do only what we truly choose to do, rather than being blown about in the winds of our desires. Self-discipline gives us the will to persevere. It helps us to meet our goals, to be productive instead of procrastinating. It keeps us from saying or doing things we would regret. We are and honest with ourselves, which frees us to live by our highest values. We are able to weed out bad habits and cultivate good ones. Self-mastery is fulfilling to our souls.
The quote is from the Dhammapada 10. Those who make channels for water control the waters. Makers of arrows make the arrows straight. Carpenters control their timber, and the holy control their souls. The practice of self-discipline. I have the self-control to make wise choices. I resist distractions. I persevere in meeting my goals. I get things done. I have the strength to be tactful. I carefully cultivate my character. I am thankful for the gift of self-discipline. It is the gardener of my soul. What an awesome pick today, Barbara. How's it speaking to you?
Well, considering that our intention was what will help mobilize the work we're doing together today, it's exactly what we need to hear. And I think yesterday's pick, creativity, really drove this idea that we're in service along with grace. And so this just adds to that and confirms even deeper that grace is in play with us here, and that we're growing this beautiful garden together.
Well, again, I hear that discernment that you have of how we're really counting on, relying on, having faith in grace, and how the synchronicity of the cards that we're picking is really helping to keep us flowing. Grace. Yeah.
Amen. Thank you. So how is it speaking to you today?
Well, I'm looking at the picture. All these little cacti, or some large cacti, growing. And, that whole idea of how self-discipline can feel a little prickly by times. But it's still growing, and cacti do have flowers that do bloom. And so that kind of appeals to my funny bone. Having the self-control to do only what we truly choose to do, rather than being blown about in the winds of our desires. I find myself being a person that chooses to be blown about in the winds of my desires, by times. That I actually have to have the self-discipline to let myself do that, because for many years I didn't. In my younger years, I was so focused on being a grown-up very young. I got married the first time at 18, and became a mom at 20, and was working so hard to be responsible and self-disciplined, and didn't really give myself much of a break. So I've had to actually learn to allow the winds and to even get in touch with what I desired, to know what I was choosing to do. Yeah, so that's an interesting dichotomy there for me, or I guess at different ages and stages for different people. You know, we go through these different phases in our lives at different times, but I believe we all have to go around the circle. We just do it at different ages and stages sometimes. So there's that, and then I have the strength to be tactful. I like that reminder that being tactful does require strength, that it isn't just, you know, some people will say, well, I have to be honest, I have to be honest. And if I'm truly myself, I just, you know, blurt out whatever comes to mind. And I believe that, again, there has to be that balance there, that it does take strength to be tactful and be responsible for the impact of what we say, the impact that it has on others. You know, and some people say, well, if they can't take it, it's their problem. Well, it's, you know, if I bump into you and you fall down, and it was not my intention, it was an accident, I can still apologize and do my best to help you get back on your feet. And rather than just, you know, leave you bumped and hurt on the ground and say, you know, well, it's your problem, you deal with it. It's, yeah. So I think that it does take strength to be tactful, even if we didn't intend to hurt someone. Make amends. Yeah. So that's how it's speaking to me. I love the analogy that it's the gardener of my soul. It implies that it doesn't just fertilize and nurture and care. It also does a little pruning and cleaning up the messes. So that's how it's speaking to me today.
I love the creativity that you bring to discerning the messages that you know, are speaking to you. And I really appreciate the, I think, care that you take all the way around, you know, caring for yourself and caring for others and caring about the impact, as well as impact positive as well as impact negative from positive intentions. You know, there's just an incredible amount of wisdom and perceptiveness there. Thank you for sharing that.
Thanks, Barbara. Thank you for joining us in Mindful Musings today. We always welcome courteous and respectful feedback in the comments section below. And if you enjoyed spending time with us, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And if you're interested in joining us online, click the link to visit our site, synergyetc.ca.